Okay, here's another ugly side of nursing video. Assault. Bedside nursing. It also occurs in, office settings, too. That has actually happened, too. I've heard of that. Not nearly the frequency that you see in bedside. Bedside, it is, depending on the level you're talking about. Verbal assault, that's ubiquitous. That's every nurse. There's not an exception. I challenge a nurse to come up and say, I've never been verbally assaulted. Never threatened. No. I challenge that one. Okay. Physically assaulted, I would say the super majority, like 70%, 75% in that range. I'm just guesstimating that, of course, off the top of my head. Might be higher, to be honest. But, I haven't talked to every nurse out there. I haven't, I have found an exception here and there. So I'm kind of like, fudging that factor in there. But if you said 3/4 of nurses have been physically assaulted, I would say, yeah. I mean, I've been physically assaulted, like punched, kicked, not like accidentally, probably at least 3 or 4 times. So like once a year. I know of a nurse that was like, I didn't know her personally, but like 7 months pregnant, I want to say. Belly's definitely showing. Punched right in there. Intubated patient just waking up, kind of. Well, no, I think he was being put down, and he didn't want to be, so sent her across the room. Thankfully, baby was fine, mommy was fine. Happens. They don't give a shit. These people, the patients that you have, some of them aren't with it, some of them are. So it's not a question of like, oh, I completely, wave off the ones that are not with it. And I would say half of the ones that assaulted me were not with it. The other half were just assholes. You're going to get a lot of racial abuse. Some of them are with it and some of them not. It's just going to happen, though. Just be aware of that. Be prepared for that. Sexual sexual assault, on a sexual innuendo kind of advances that are unwelcome. I get it too, I mean, there's little grandmas that do that to me. I'm sure you're going to experience all the types, but women are going to be, it's going to be a big target. Just be aware of that. Protect yourself. Don't go into a room where there even is a possibility and no one knows you're there. Okay. There have been cases where nurses, and I'm sure your nursing school go over these things. There's, infamous cases where nurses were killed, cracked, over the head with a chair. I don't know if they continue to beat on them, but it was enough to kill them. So, but nobody knew until later on, and the instances of nurses being assaulted and being on permanent disability for it. So it is a reality. It is not a probability. It is a reality of life. Just like being a police officer, soldier, you're gonna a work crew on the roads. It is a reality of the job. So be aware, be mindful. Be very mindful of your scenarios, and unfortunately, women are taught that. A lot of women, most women, I think. I teach my daughters that. Be aware of your surroundings. Think ahead. Think of what you don't put yourself in that scenario. But do women still, unfortunately, get lulled into that? Yeah, you do, because it's, who said it? I think it was Chris Rock said it. It's like being a woman is like having $1,000 flashing around and walking through a bad neighborhood. That's just every eye's on you, and it's very, very scary, and it's something that it has to be dealt with. You have to deal with. Unfortunately, you could say, hey, we can put all these programs and things in place, but in the end, it's 101. You're not going to have a security guard in with you every time. It's just not going to happen. We had a case, a long-termer, basically every other day. Security got to know him first name basis. So just be careful out there. That's a very ugly side of nursing, and unfortunately it is a reality of nursing. Okay, good luck.